Hello everyone, welcome to another RCByte. Today, I want to talk to you about single shareholder S-Corps and how they are basically the same as all the other S-Corps. I often have conversations with people where they have a single shareholder S-Corp that is generating a lot of revenue with that single shareholder. When we run the reasonable compensation analysis for that shareholder, there's a large discrepancy between the shareholder's reasonable compensation figure and the net income. This stresses people out because they don't want to throw any flags with the IRS, and I've heard more times than I can say that pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. I want to talk to you today about how the reasonable compensation figure generated within RCReports is accurate and that it is the best way to go about calculating reasonable compensation. The example we'll look at is with Derek Shepard. He is a neurosurgeon that does contract surgeries and does consultations with clients and hospitals. Now you'll see that his net revenue in 2022 was $600,000. His reasonable compensation analysis that we did that looked at the compensation for other neurosurgeons in his area and also others doing those tasks in his area came in to be $195,000. And keep in mind that when we use the cost approach, we blended that reasonable compensation wage with all the tasks he was doing, and we answered the question, what would be the cost of the different services he was performing? Now, things that I want you to remember when calculating reasonable compensation and seeing these reasonable compensation figures. Any reasonable compensation figure can be questioned by the IRS. And keep in mind, when calculating reasonable compensation, there is no right reasonable compensation figure, but there are definitely many wrong ones. Some wrong ways to calculate reasonable compensation would be to split the distributions, the 50-50 rule, the 60-40 rule, the 30-70 rule. It really depends on the book you read or the firm you're in. Looking at job listings in the area, just Googling it, or a WAG, a wild ass guess. These aren't good ways to calculate reasonable compensation. Keep in mind that RCReports maintains the largest wage database in the United States that is updated quarterly, and we have also patterned our reasonable compensation approaches after that of the IRS. So you can be confident that we have done our due diligence and that the figure being generated from RCReports is accurate as long as you're entering the tasks and proficiency levels for your client accurately within RCReports. Third, the key to surviving a challenge from the IRS requires backup data. As I mentioned, there's no absolute right answer. If you have entered all of the information for the client accurately within RCReports, you will have the data that you need to survive a challenge. The data that we provide for you are 1, a verifiable dollar amount, and 2, you can demonstrate the origin of that reasonable compensation figure. And keep in mind that if you ever do need our help, we have our audit and litigation support available to all of our premium customers. If you have any scenarios that you'd like to talk through, questions about the platform or about our data, please let me know. I'm always happy to talk through these with you and make sure that you're getting the most out of our platform. Thank you everybody for joining today. I hope that you found it helpful, and we'll see you next week.